without further ado, I would love to introduce someone who has a birthday today. And yes, Gregory Walker, who is the managing executive director of the Brothers Network. Could you please all join me? Yes! Please go up to him afterwards and give him a handshake, give him a hug, and say happy birthday. Ladies and gentlemen, Gregory Walker.
Thanks, Carrie. Thank you, everyone. That's terrific. That's not the opening I was thinking that we were going to talk about. I'll talk a little bit about the Brothers Network. First, I'll talk about our 5-year relationship with the Philadelphia Theater Company and the Suzanne Roberts Theater, and then we'll talk about the James L. and John T. Knight winner, which the Brothers Network is a winner of, for our Art Challenge grant. And so we're really excited to do that. Actually, the Brothers Network is an African-American men's organization that engages African-American men and the larger community in dialogue and discourse. We chose this to use art and culture as a way to reframe the notions of black male identity in this country and throughout the world. We really love our relationship with Philadelphia Theater Company because every time they do a show that is relevant about changing the discourse and dialogue, we get the phone call and we get to engage them and we get to put out a program. This year, we thought, this being the 50th anniversary of the historic March on Washington, them choosing this particular play, we wanted to go as high as we could go, and so we decided to partner in a way that this is a black tie affair. So it's January 19th, it is black tie, it is a $100 ticket price. I know the ladies have their beautiful outfits that they want to wear, the men have their gorgeous tuxedos, and they won't be going to Washington for the inauguration because it's going to be too cold outside. You'll get to be warm in here inside of the theater. Beautifully catered affair by 12th Street Caterers, one of our partners, and University of Pennsylvania is going to help us with that, to underwrite that event. And so it's a black tie affair. It's part of the preview for the Mountaintop, and it continues to engage the bigger and larger community about what it means to be African American, not only today, but back 40 years ago, 50 years ago, and then into the future. I had the pleasure of reading the script for Mountaintop, so I'm not going to give anything away, but I can tell you that this is a perfect fit for the Brothers Network. The Brothers Network has recently expanded into Connecticut to do audience development, and that speaks to the 5-year relationship that we've had here in Philadelphia. And I'd also just like to say hello and thank you to all of my supporters who are out in the audience today and who help us do the work that we do. I will talk a little bit about this notion of how African American men are perceived, and also other people in other groups, whether you're gay or lesbian, or whether you're a woman, or what different ethnic or minority group, but sometimes we're boxed in. The Brothers Network was sort of selected by the Knight Foundation to tell the story of Henry Box Brown. Henry Box Brown was an enslaved African who shipped himself in a box very much like the one that you see on the set. So the themes are being repeated. It was a box that he put himself in, shipped himself from Virginia as a slave to Philadelphia, which was a free state in 1869. Now, can you imagine putting yourself in a box? I can't. The risk associated with it. You're enclosed for freedom, right? The box will serve as an artistic metaphor as we begin to tell the story. And how that relates to the Black Tie Affair is that it's a fundraiser for the Henry Box Brown Festival. It makes sense. So really, this Mountaintop is the beginning of looking at the notions of freedom and isolation, the notions that we all experience no matter what group or subgroup that we're a part of. The festival will be a year-long festival starting in the spring. It started in March of 2013. We will have 12 installments, one of which I think will be here, if Sarah's nice to me. That's my ask publicly, ladies and gentlemen. And we have the playwrights, we have the theater piece that will have the dancers and choreographers, and we're using African American men to tell this story as well. Everyone is welcome. It's going to engage the entire city of Philadelphia, the entire community of Philadelphia, who's interested in art and culture, and then this notion of Henry Box Brown. This is a story that is not widely known. The piece for me that was really striking was that sort of when we look at African American male identity in this country, we never think of folks who were people who were involved in the anti-slavery movement. So William Still was one of those people. William Still was a black abolitionist whose home was actually just a few blocks from here on 11th Street, which is now the neighborhood. William Still was an African American man who was a wealthy coal merchant, and he helped to open the box where Henry Box Brown was here. This notion of African American men helping African American men. The Brothers Network is a story about African American men helping African American men and retelling our stories in a way that makes sense. Our relationship with this theater, our relationship with the city of Philadelphia, our relationship with the Knight Foundation, our relationship with each of you grows that story and changes that discourse. We engage in dialogue and discourse. I'll tell you a little bit more about the Black Tie event on the 19th of January, which is a Saturday. It's going to start with Kevin Spraga just on the corner. It's an African-American restaurant, which is one of the 30 best restaurants according to Esquire magazine in the country. Let me say that again. One of the 30 best restaurants in the country. We're doing a 5-course meal. That's the first part. You'll come over, see this amazing show, and then here in this space will be a post-performance reception. This is the event to be at. All of the shows are the events to be at, but this is the event to be at. Let me make that very clear. So we're hoping that our friends in the corner will come out to this event and have an opportunity to see the show actually long before many other people see it. I want to talk just very quickly as I close about the Henry Box Brown Festival, and I don't think I forgot anything, but this festival is going to be showcased throughout the city of Philadelphia, telling everybody exactly what's going on. What the Brothers Network normally does is engage through books and literature and art events and other things, but that's going to be our focus for an entire year, ending on the following March, which is the date in which Henry Box Brown came to Philadelphia. And so there'll be a huge place. One of our goals at the end of this festival is to get a placard so that people will know about this really incredible story with the Underground Railroad, William Still, the relationship to our Jewish friends who helped also William Still to do that, how that is now in the neighborhood, sort of unmarked territory in the way it ought to be. But that's the notion of what we're going to do. I'm happy to take questions and answers. I'm not going to name my folks individually, but I just want to say thanks everyone for being here and being a part of this conversation. And I'll take questions at the end. And thank you for the birthday wish.